Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis. Today, very grateful, very humble to be joined by Jill Ogle. Now, I found Jill in a podcast group full of 1 point something million people. She put a post up in her, like on the podcast page, and she interviewed me. That podcast will be in the show notes. But Jill, we return the favor today. Welcome to my show.
Great to be
Well,
here.
and I've been delving through your content for the last half an hour, and yeah, you don't hold anything back. Super deep, super raw, and very authentic. So, Jill, welcome to my show. Would love for you to tell my listeners and my viewers who the freaking hell you are and what the freaking hell you do.
Thanks, Nathan. Great to be here. And yeah, super great to have another conversation with you. Um, yeah, I mean, we're going to get into who I am, I guess, what I've experienced in my lifetime. What I do for people is I help people to understand their past and to really clear it out so that they can create something that they love. So many of us are bound by our past experiences, and quite often we don't even know, we don't even realize, because our programs and our patterns are so subconscious that they're so below the surface that we aren't even really aware that they're there. And so we attract the same circumstances, the same situations, the same kinds of people. And we don't understand that we can actually do something about this. That this is just a program that we've acquired over our history based on our past beliefs, events that we've experienced. And we now know that this programming can go back 13 generations by the study of epigenetics. So it's really about getting people to understand the feedback that they're getting in their life by way of interacting with other people, by way of their triggers, by way of what's actually showing up in their reality, to then understand what's going on for them in a subconscious way, so that we can do something to heal that part of ourselves, so that we can do something to actually change that pattern, change that programming, and to become unbound, basically to move beyond where we thought we had to live. Um so for me, it's all about freedom. It's all about collapsing past patterns, past triggers, really stepping into a healthy self image, a healthy self-worth. And from that space, you're going to create a different reality, because the universe brings you what you feel worthy of. And so, as you start to own these parts that you don't love, you start to take back the parts that you've given away that you do love, that you really wish you had, and start to become whole. Your self-worth increases, your self-image repairs, and magic happens.
100%. I can just echo that. That's pretty much what this podcast is birthed from, that little boy that wasn't worthy of starting a podcast. But anyway, back on you, Jill. What got you down the path of self-development? Like, what was it for you that was it like a rock bottom or something for you that was like, I need to change? We all have these moments where, things can't get any freaking worse. And then here we are, things get worse. Like, what was it for you that was the catalyst for that change?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that for me. So I've always been interested in magic, in yeah, since I was young, I've been interested in magic and other dimensions. And so it's certainly been a part of my story since a young age. But really, my big awakening, my big shift into self-development was when my dad got sick back in 2007. So I'd just gotten divorced 12 months earlier. And then almost to the day, 12 months later, we found out that my dad had pancreatic cancer. And anyway, I was having a conversation with someone who came into my work, and she said, "Oh, you've got to watch The Secret." And so I did. And I dived down that rabbit hole of positive thinking and healing with the mind. And it was really, at that time, I thought it was, me trying to save my dad. Like, if my dad could just understand that, the mind is so powerful, then he could heal himself, and I could save him. Um, he died 9 months later. And and I now know that it wasn't about healing him. It was the beginning of me on my path to where I am today. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And so obviously, I anyone that's seen any of my content, I've kind of moved on to that, off that secret way of thinking that you've got to be positive all the time, and some of the things that they share in that movie. However, it was a huge part of my awakening, and so super grateful for that. But now yeah, I've kind of moved on, and I have a fuller picture of what it takes to truly heal. But no, it wasn't me hitting rock bottom. It was yeah, me trying to save my dad, and my dad gifting that awakening to me, really. Yeah.
It's a beautiful gift.
Yeah, and I had this moment of realization yesterday, and it just hadn't occurred to me before, but you know, I shared a post about my suicide attempt when I was 14, and I can talk about that more later if you want. But the realization that I had yesterday was that on that day when I was 14, there was two people that were very prominent in that experience, two people that were front and center in that experience, and it was my oldest brother and my dad. So when I first drank the poison, I ran straight to my brother and I said, I think I've done something wrong, vomiting. And he said, what did you do? What did you do? And then he went and grabbed my dad, and my dad drove me straight to the hospital through all the red lights. Um, and so anyway, the two people that were there front and center on that day are actually the two people that have helped me awaken dramatically. I'm going to get emotional on this journey. And the first one was my dad, with thinking that I had to heal him, and then the second was my brother, and the situation surrounding his death. So just absolutely phenomenal how this universe that we live in works. And when you can start to join the dots, and you can start to see behind the veil, basically, of the intricate web of our lives, you can't look at a situation and not feel grateful. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, I can look at just about anything that's happened and see the beauty in it, see how one thing is woven into another, and it's just incredible.
There's a lot of people that'll be listening to this and they'll
Mm.
ask the question in the comments, or if this becomes a reel, and they'll ask this question. I'm going to ask it to you now, is like, how did you get to that place?
The suicide attempt?
No,
Oh,
the place of what you just said. Like, you see
oh,
everything as like a moment of, like, you're grateful for every moment is basically what you just said 30 seconds ago. I was just asking, how do you get to that place? Because, some people will be listening to this will be in the depths of their shit, Who, like, there's so many examples of that, but how did you get to that place?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Look, and full disclosure, I'm definitely not there with every moment in my life. Like, we're all a work in progress,
Mm.
for sure. However, because I've got the tools now, because I've got the understanding of how it all works, I can get there very quickly. And so, for the people listening at home, so what happens when you have an experience is, something will happen, and you'll experience that through either your five or six senses, and and then your brain will assign it either a positive or a negative experience based on your past traumas, past experiences, your beliefs, all of the programming that I was kind of talking about at the beginning. And so your brain just automatically does that. It's like, this is a positive thing, this is a negative thing. And um nothing is one-sided. Like, everything has the light and the dark, everything has a pro and a con, a benefit and a drawback. However, because this happens in our brain and we don't know to go and look for the other side of things, it's how it settles, and it's how we perceive things. And so in the work that I do, I help people to find the other side. If you think about like the yin and the yang, right? There's light in the dark, there's dark in the light, and it all comes back to a perfect balance. Similar to a magnet. A magnet has, both poles. It has a positive and a negative. You can't have a positive without the negative. You can't have light without dark. You can't have good without bad. You can't have happy without sad. They're two ends of the same magnet, right? But we're so conditioned in this life to want to live a one-sided experience where the pursuit of happiness and the high vibes and the
Love
like
and light.
positive vibes only, right? And it's all this push towards this one-sided reality, and we forget about the rest of it, right? And we forget it, that that everything does have both sides, and so that automatically happens when you perceive something. That happens in your brain. Like you don't really have a control over that. However, what you can start to do is you can start to say, oh, that felt a bit shit. What's the blessing in this, right? What's the other side to this? How is this serving me? And it goes both ways, right? If you're constantly trying to be happy and up and positive and you're really cocky, you're going to get slammed by the universe. You're going to get slammed by the universe to bring you back into balance. So as we start to understand the dynamics at play, these universal principles they've talked about for thousands of years, and understand them at a deep level, then we've got the rules of the game of life, and we can start to play within those rules. Or if we choose to go outside of the rules of life, then we know what's going to happen, right? And I'm not talking about the man-made rules. I'm talking about universal laws that you really can't escape. Because I know we're both rebels, so I just want to put that out there. So coming back to your question, it's really about understanding at a deep, deep level that everything has two sides. And if you're in the shit at the moment, it's because you're looking at things as a one-sided view that this is crap, this is crap, this is crap. And then what we do is we throw it all into a bundle of mess, a ball of mess, and we're like, everything sucks, I can't do this. And I know, right? I've been there. I'm speaking from experience. And so what you can start to do straight away, if you want to do something right now, if you're listening, you can start to write down specifically what it is that's going on for you. And don't do it in your head. Don't do it in your head. Actually get it out of your head and get it on the paper in front of you. Write down a list of things that are bothering you. And if it's something about someone in your environment, you're being triggered by someone, write down specifically what they're doing or not doing that's upsetting you. And then ask yourself, what is the opposite of this? Where is the opposite happening? And just allow yourself to start to ponder that. Sometimes it can take some probing, right? Sometimes it takes someone to help you to get in there to find the dynamics, because we are our own worst enemy, if I can say it that way. We've got all these beautiful strategies to keep ourselves, safe and stuck in the comfort zone. And it's really, really hard to see your own stuff. It's really hard to see your own stuff. That's why, some of the greatest leaders in the world, they've all got coaches to help them to show them what they're missing, to shine the light on that. But really, it's about starting to see things as more of a balance rather than this one-sided reality. Understand that sometimes you're going to be happy, sometimes you're going to be sad. Sometimes you're going to be positive and sometimes you're going to be negative. And that's okay. Like all of the parts of you are worthy and valuable and needed. If negativity wasn't a necessary attribute, it wouldn't exist. 99% of our species that have ever lived are extinct. So, if things are not needed anymore in this universe that we live in, they they become extinct. But you'll never get rid of an attribute. You'll never get rid of your negativity. You'll never get rid of your meanness, your bitchiness, um your dumbness, your whatever it is that you're critical of. And so what we want to do instead is to love these parts of ourselves and bring them back into our wholeness, bring them back into our being. And then they don't kind of come out and play the way, they do when they're not integrated. Once you've integrated that thing, it's like trying to hold a beach ball under the water. Like if you've got a beach ball of mean or bitch or asshole and you're trying to keep that repressed, right, under the water so it doesn't come out because you're trying to be kind and you want to be all love and light in this side of things, that's going to come out at the most inopportune time. And I know people listening to this will know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's like, oh shit, why did I say that? Where did that come from? Right? It's that thing going on. And so as we start to take back these parts, as we start to see ourselves as whole beings, as complete light and dark, good and bad, whatever it is, then that beach ball deflates and it no longer needs to pop out the way it has previously. You have a better control of it. You don't need to control it anymore. And that's the thing. Anything that we've not owned, loved, and integrated is controlling us. What we don't own owns us, and we don't even know it. We don't even know it. We're on such an automatic program. And Carl Jung said it great. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you'll call it fate. And this is exactly what's happening, where we're being controlled and maneuvered and we're acting in certain ways and we don't even realize. We don't even
No,
realize.
no.
Mm.
But gaining that conscious awareness is very, 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 very powerful. And I just wanted to circle back
Mm.
to, we're going to circle right back. I love what you said. You spoke to my heart there before too. So there was some stuff. It's interesting, this podcast. Everyone sort of just says something and it just gives me a moment to ponder. But I just wanted to circle back. So part of your story is the suicide attempt when you're 14.
Mm.
You want to circle back there and share that one for us, because I feel like that's a really important topic, even in the mainstream circles today. Mental
Yeah,
health. So,
for
yeah,
sure. Um, Yeah, so I started dating someone when I was 13.
as you do.
And yeah, and felt like he was the love of my life. And so when we broke up, I think it was like 9 months later, I was devastated. I was devastated. It was my first love, and and it really pointed to he broke it off, and it really pointed to some old wounds from childhood where I gained this belief that I wasn't lovable, I wasn't worthy,
Oh,
and it really hit that point, right? And this is what happens whenever you're triggered. It's hitting a sore point that is not healed. And so I went into this extremely depressed state and spent a lot of time in my room, despite my parents, trying to help me and trying to get me out, and really doing the best they could with what they had. Um, and it just came to this point um, where I was at our family business, and I'd just been to the bathroom, and I just couldn't bear the pain anymore. I had no tools, no strategy, no way of finding my way out of kind of what was going on. And so I drank poison. Um, I was in the toilet and I drank poison and immediately started throwing up into a towel. And because it's family business, so I ran straight to my brother and I said, I think I've done something wrong. And he just started screaming at me like, what have you done? What have you done? And I told him, and he ran like lightning to get my dad. And dad put me in the car and went through every red light to get me to the hospital. And they had me drink charcoal to neutralize the poison. And I mean, that was pretty much the end of that. Like, I don't really remember what happened directly after that. It's all a bit of a blur. But you know, I certainly didn't. There was two things that happened. Like immediately after I drank the poison, I was like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. Like that was a mistake. Um, and I didn't immediately bounce back after that either. Like just because I realized that it was a mistake, it also wasn't the, oh my God, my life's worth living, and I'm so grateful to be here. It wasn't that either, right? So you know, if you've experienced this, if for anyone listening who's experienced this, like it's not the same for everyone, like maybe you have a moment of like, oh my God, thank God I survived, and that's your awakening. That wasn't the case for me. I was certainly a lot better, but there was still stuff that wasn't resolved. And it wasn't until my awakening and my journey that I started to get to the bottom of my healing, really, and start to really transform. And it took me 15 years to really find the tools that worked, to really find, because I went on the positive thinking thing. I went down the affirmation track. When I was in real estate, I wrote 105 affirmations every day for 6 months. Nothing happened. Like, so I've tried many things. I used to work for Joe Dispenza. I've been in healing circles at his events many times. And yet, over that 15-year period, there was still a lot of emotional and physical feedback going on that I just wasn't getting to the bottom of. So that was definitely a big part of my story. And while I knew in that moment that I wanted to live, I just believe in soul contracts, and I just think that event with my brother and my dad, and then coming back later in life and having them, because anyone could have given me these gifts of awakening, right? I could have met
Correct.
someone down at the pub, and some old mate that just had it all together and was like, oh, this is for you, but it wasn't. It was these two people in this profound moment, in this life-changing moment in my life, where I decided, no, like I've got goosebumps all over. I was
So do
like,
I.
yeah. I was like, no, I want to live. And it was like I was agreeing to a contract in that moment for future events. And didn't know that at the time. I mean, didn't know that till yesterday. Really, to be honest, I didn't have that awareness of the suicide connection until yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just bloody magical,
It
like
is.
when you start to look at life through a different lens. And look, I'm not saying it's not hard, it's not challenging, it's not all of these other things at times, because it is. I do think there's a difference between being challenged and suffering, and and that's our choice, whether we want to heal that or not, whether we want to look at life through a different lens or not. So many people don't. So many people, are either stuck on that attachment of just having a happy life and just having that, positive vibes only kind of thing, because they don't want to go into the reality of what's gone on for them. But the paradox is, the paradox is, if you go into the darkness, if you go into those past events that have, felt traumatized, or even just huge emotional events, the paradox is you actually end up experiencing more happiness because you've truly healed, and you get to move to a different level of reality,
Very powerful last few minutes there. There's so much to unpack there. I did make some notes. I'm a big believer in the soul contracts thing too, just in some events in my life as well. And
Yep.
then you dive into the energy of the person that's passed, and they're still with you, and I see it all, and it's awesome. And yeah, like that's probably a whole nother podcast episode where you and I can go real proper woo woo.
Could talk for hours,
I
actually.
reckon we could. I reckon we could just do a whole podcast on like the woo woo stuff. It's not even woo woo; it's all real. But anyway, I
Yeah.
just wanted to touch on the affirmations thing, because a lot of people will start the self development journey and they'll write the affirmations. They'll do the 21 days thing, and
Yeah.
you know, it's good for a start, because it is to a point rewiring your patterning. But if you have a deep seated belief of you're not worthy, then they're not going to work. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I actually think that affirmations can keep you stuck a lot of the time because,
Yeah, fair.
well, my example before, I spent 6 months writing 105 affirmations
Were
before
they
I
the
went.
same ones?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I did the same affirmation 105 times every day before I
Yep.
went to work in real estate for 6 months. Don't get me wrong, I had a great career, but in that 6 months, nothing changed,
Mm,
and that's why I say that potentially they can keep people stuck,
yeah.
because you give your power away to an affirmation thinking that something's changing, but your
Or
conscious
not changing.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your subconscious mind is millions of times more powerful than your conscious mind. So if you're sitting there saying, I am worthy with your conscious mind, and your subconscious mind has a program to say, no, you're not, then it's not going to do anything. And so you'll spend all of this time saying your affirmations, thinking that something's happening, and nothing's changed. Nothing's changing, right? We've got to get in and make the unconscious conscious.
Yes. We have
That's
to change, It's the same with meditation, all these other things too. Like it's all well and good, I find, to get the vision or get the whatever of the future. But if you're not going to change anything, then you're going to remain where you are, and that will just be out in the horizon, just like waiting for you to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
All right.
like any future vision that we have, um, I've had many visions of my future. Those visions have actually happened, right? Anything that
Mm,
you can picture, anything that you can tap into, maybe not visual, maybe you've just got a sense of it.
yep.
Anything that you can tap into in your future has already happened. It happens instantaneously, right? It's done. But you've got to become a different version of yourself, because the person in the future that has that life that you want is a different frequency to who you are now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd already have that future.
Now we're getting juicy.
Right.
Yeah.
So until you get in there and change your programming, change your self-image, change your self-worth, you're not going to match the frequency to that future. The moment you do, it's done. The moment you do, it's in your life. You'll know it. You'll know it because it's here in front of you.
Yeah. It's so true. It's
It's
so true.
it's mm,
Like we had this chat in the interview you did with me, and it's like the same with the going to see the psychics and the energy healers. It's the same thing. They're seeing a different version of you for a different timeline. But if you aren't going to match that timeline and match that frequency, then that thing ain't going to happen. It's as simple
mm,
as that. It's like the laws of life, right? Well, it is
yeah.
the laws of the universe. Yeah.
What's the law of resonance? Yeah, and
Yeah.
and that's exactly it. You know, it doesn't matter what it is that you want to create in your life. You can pretty much do just about anything. I mean, if you're a 6 foot tall white man, I don't think you're ever going to become a 4 foot tall black man, but 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 whatever you can tune into, if you want to become wealthy, have great relationships, improve your health, anything, it's available for you. And I don't care where you've come from.
Yeah.
You could have lived in the gutter for the last 5 years, and it doesn't take a lot to get moving in the direction where you want to be. But it does take work. It does,
Hmm.
it's simple, but sometimes it's not easy.
No.
Sometimes
And from the affirmations, what was it that you decided to change from the affirmations, knowing full well they weren't going to work? What was that moment like? Was it I need to change, like writing this down 105 times ain't going to work? What was the next thing you did that allowed you to then see some progress?
yeah, well, I mean, it honestly took me 15 years to kind of
Jesus.
to work it out. Because when you've got a pattern of unworthiness, right? When
Yeah.
you've got a program of unworthiness, you think that you're broken,
Oh, now we're getting somewhere.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
so you write your affirmations 105 times for 6 months every day. You do the thing, you're good girl, disciplined, all of that. Nothing changes in your reality, right? Like you want to be seeing changes in your reality to get the evidence of it. Um, and so if you've already got a pattern and a program of not worthy, you've already got a self-image that isn't where you want it to be, or isn't what is matching your vision, then all of a sudden, see, I knew it wasn't going to work for me. Works for everyone else. It's not going to work for me. See, I'm broken. See, like, and you just stack up the evidence to that.
Yeah, against it. Yeah.
And I, in my one-on-one coaching, like I have people that come to me and they're like, but is it going to work for me? And it's like we're not so special, really. Like we are all unique and special in our own way, but we're not so special that the universe is going to say anyone can heal doing this work except that guy. That guy, no, no, not that one. Nah, nah, doomed. Nah, damned to hell. Like it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. We're the creators. We're the creators. We're the ones that get to um, you know, take back the charge of our life, and step into that creator seat and make the shifts and improve our self-image and improve our self-worth. And when we do that, the universe has no other choice but to deliver everything that we want, everything that we feel now worthy of.
Mm.
um but I've seen it. I've seen it so much in the various communities that I've been in over that time. And look, that doesn't say that. That's not to say that I haven't had, like, it wasn't 15 years of shit. It wasn't 15 years of like this is crap. It was 15 years of like a little bit of success and then a little bit of fallback and a little bit, yeah, and oh,
Yeah.
that's great and that's shit and that's great and that's shit, because I didn't know that everything has two sides. I was just looking at it as like, this is great, this is terrible, this is,
Yeah.
and so you end up on this emotional roller coaster. Um, and it's prolific. It's prolific in the communities that I've been involved in because of the lack of understanding of this work at a deep level, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and people crucify themselves, like I worked for Joe Dispenza. I was put into the healing circles, and when I left his community, I ended up with a brain injury. I didn't heal my autoimmune stuff that I had going on since I was 12, and it's like really, like
Mm.
I'm in this role, attending all these events, facilitating at these events, and I can't heal my body.
Interesting.
um, but it was when I left that I did. I actually had the brain injury, and then that led me on another well, it was my brother's death that kind of catalyzed the next part. But yeah, and is the reason why I've healed so many things now, because yeah, back in 2020, I wouldn't have remembered your name. I had to pick up my phone to write notes. I didn't know what I was doing half the time. I'd walk into a room and I'd be like, why am I here? Um, I remember one day, because I was ordering supplements to try and help my cognition, and to detox. And one day I walked past my letterbox and I got a parcel out of the letterbox. And later that day, I was like, oh shit, where is that parcel? What was it? Was it vitamins? Have I left it in the sun? Have I left it outside somewhere? Like, didn't know what I'd done with it. And then I remembered, I was like, oh, it was a pack of playing cards. And then I walked
Wow.
past the letterbox again and I was like, holy shit, there was a parcel. What did I do with it? And this just repeated like for the next 24 hours. I just had this ongoing thing. Anytime I walked past my letterbox, I was like, what did I do with that parcel? What was the parcel? Where is the part? Like, and I was in a really bad state. I thought I was actually going to end up in a nursing home at one point because I was just really, really unwell. But this work is the thing that's healed me, understanding my loss of identity, leaving Joe's world, and the other side of things, how that's all served me. And it's incredible. It's incredible. As soon as you get that thing that has been keeping you stuck, it's like your manifestation, right? As soon as you get to that root cause and collapse that trigger, the healing happens instantaneously, or the manifestation occurs. It's so quick, and you can go from completely foggy, not knowing what's going on, to having a realization and being back. Like, it can
Mm.
happen that quickly.
How does one get to the root?
So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right?
Mm.
For me, it's a lot of questioning.
Yeah.
I ask a lot of questions, and then what the client reveals gives me, because
Yeah.
I'm very intuitive, as you know, and so it will give me, there'll be something in what they've just said that I'm like, oh, it's that path, and we'll go down that path. And so I'll ask questions regarding that, and then they'll say something else, and I'll be like, yes, like, let's go down here. And so it's not something that I can really teach people to do at home, apart from your self-awareness, and you're starting to apply the universal principles and starting to inquire where's the opposite. These sorts of things help. But yeah, like in session, it's a lot of just asking questions to kind of get into the crux of it.
Yeah.
Um, and when you do, it's like I said, it's just magic.
Yeah.
It
And
feels like a miracle.
we can create that magic every single day.
Anytime you want,
Mm. It's available
anytime
to
you want.
us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, while I don't think that, there's a lot of practices out there I don't think kind of get to the root cause. However, um, your meditation, your visualization, all of these things I think are very, very useful in terms of, helping you function, helping you, calm your nervous system, helping you, create that reality that you want. Um, the thing that people miss with the manifestation thing is exactly what you said before. They think that, um, you know, they don't have to be a different version of themselves
Correct.
to get that thing, but it has to be a different version
It's
of
the
you.
biggest one, right, Jill? Because then those people will then blame something else rather than just looking in the mirror.
Exactly, exactly. And when you set an intention for something, the other thing that kind of stuffs people up is they'll set an intention and they'll start to visualize or meditate on it or whatever your process is, and then they'll call in the opposite, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
this isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I signed up for. Now, if you're attached to anything, you're going to call in the opposite. If you're attached
Oh,
to
here
being
we go.
positive, you're going to have negative people showing up. If you're attached
Here we
to,
go.
doesn't matter what it is, right? Anything you're attached to, you are going to draw in the opposite. to balance out the fantasy that you've got.
Correct.
So if you can instead let go, let go, understand that, if you get the thing or you don't get the thing, doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, your manifestation process isn't really about the thing. It's about the person you bloody become on your way to getting it.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so
It,
true.
it's never about the thing.
Mm.
It's about the person you become on the way to getting that thing.
That's like a mic drop, Jill.
And it is. And
It's true.
and so what happens is you set the intention, you either draw in the opposite or you draw in something that's not what you wanted. And what you'll start to do is you'll be like, this doesn't work, I'm not worthy, I can't do this, etc., etc., etc.,
Mm.
instead of looking at the feedback the universe is giving you and actually doing something with it.
Yeah.
Because if, for instance, years ago I wanted a new relationship,
Oh, here
and
we go. Just,
and
yeah, this is going to be good for my listeners and for myself here because I'm currently in that space, as you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had my list of things, as we all do.
Hmm.
And and one of the things, because I've been hurt in the past by people lying, was I wanted someone who was honest. And so I was really, really attached to that because I had trust issues. I really felt I needed that honesty
You talking
because
to me here or is this yourself? Oh,
perfect,
man.
perfect. This would be great for you, Nathan.
Yes.
Um, and so what did I attract? Right? I
Yeah.
attracted this great guy who, could have sold ice to Eskimos, right? Um, and it felt great on the surface, but he lied and lied and lied
Of
and
course.
lied.
Mm.
And so what people will do in this situation is they'll say, he's a liar, he needs to get out of my life, he's toxic, he's to blame, blah, 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 blah. They'll talk to their friends. They'll get all their friends on board. Yes, that's right. That's not good. He is a liar. You should get rid of him, right? And everyone's, helping this person really concrete their story. But what we don't do is we don't say, hang on a second. If I'm really pissed off about this guy lying to me and everyone's a reflection of me,
Ooh.
then I must be a liar.
Bang. 100%.
and and the next thing that will happen is people go, I don't lie, no. And what happens is, in this dynamic, is your pride of how honest you are blocks you from being able to see where you lie, where you do that thing that's pissing you off about the other person.
I don't have any
And
words for
so,
that.
yeah, and it's there every time. I don't care what's triggering you, it will be there every single time. That's why it hurts, is because it's pointing to an unhealed part of you, trying to be loved, trying to be owned, trying to be integrated, wants to come home. And the moment we can start to, break down our prides and start to truly look for where we are, that reflection, that's where shit starts to change. That's where we start to become whole again. That's when we start to love ourselves instead of having this fractured idea of who we are. It's the biggest problem that we have in this world right now.
I agree.
And it's
Especially in the youth, the young people of today. I don't know why we're going this path, but I've had some conversations with younger people, and there's this real I hate men thing going on in the youth today.
wow, okay.
A lot of trust issues with men, and it's this like just from the circles that I'm in, I'm seeing it.
Mm,
And I had a comment. Yeah, it's a story from last week. I was on this double date, Now, the person that's was with me will watch this, but the two women probably will never watch this. So I'm comfortable to talk about it. Now, I want your view on this.
Okay.
Right. I was talking about the work I do and the podcasting and the coaching and da 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 da. Now, I was only purely there because my mate teed this up.
Mm,
So anyway, she was like, "Oh, that's really cool what you're doing, but don't you think men have done enough talking?" And I was like, "Hmm." So we sort of like probed her and asked questions around that, and she wasn't willing to go down that path. But it's like a lot of our younger women are saying things like this, or it's on their
mm,
dating profile, change my mind about my trust issues with men. It's like,
mm,
what's like, I can
mm,
see it, and I know
mm,
you can. Let's
mm,
let's talk about it.
mm.
It's everywhere. It's prevalent.
Wow. Okay.
How's that for a story?
First time I'm hearing about it, but I don't really deal with youth as much as you do, of course.
Yes, I see this
Well,
everywhere.
yeah, well, the first thing is if you're noticing something and you're not, you're not having a reaction to it, you're not charged about it, it doesn't annoy you or upset you or anything, then you're simply being informed, right?
Hmm.
You're simply being informed by something in your environment. However, if there's so much as a cringe or maybe wanting to tell me on the podcast to get my feedback, then there's definitely something in that for you.
100%.
So, mm.
That's why
So
I brought it to your attention because I think there's something there for me.
yeah, yeah. So what is it about that pisses you off?
Yeah, it didn't piss me off. I wanted to explore that comment and why perhaps that might have been said for me. And we're getting personal now. I love this. I just wanted to explore that comment. It's like, well, why do you have this view? Why'd you say that? Or like what is the issue that you have with men? It's not the issue you have with me, it's deeper than me.
Yeah, look, and I mean, we'd have to talk to her to get to the bottom
Correct.
of where that
Which
came
me and my
from.
buddy on a on a double date we're actually trying to do. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
anyway,
yeah, probably why the
the
date
comment actually
did not go
didn't.
well.
Comments like that in the past have upset me though, and for
Yeah.
me, I was looking back on that and going, well, that didn't actually upset me. I wanted to explore the comment and explore that person of
Mm,
what this is bringing up for you. But the
mm.
person was unwilling to go that place, clearly. But it was interesting.
That's
It was just a very interesting thing. Like I completely didn't have any attachment to any outcome in the whole thing. I was purely
mm,
there
mm,
just to help my mate out.
mm. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, yeah. My guess is it does annoy you to a degree, um, is my feel, because you've said to me twice that you were there to help your mate out on the date. You didn't actually, it was that.
Ooh.
And yeah, so you're really making it known, right?
Mm.
Which means you're trying to back out of the date, basically. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. Um, yes, you could totally go down the path of, why does she say that? What all those things, but you do your head in, because unless you're having a conversation with her and asking, and I know you tried, I know that was the attempt when you were there. Um, we could hypothesize until the cows come home,
Yeah.
right? She's had something happen in her childhood. She's programmed, by her parents, by society. Like it's endless. Um, I would be more curious about you
Mm. Mm.
because, I can ask you questions. We can ask you why that annoys, why that hurts a little, why that's painful. What part of you is that touching on?
Oh, I already delved into it 2 days later.
Yep.
Hence the, yeah. I'll
What did you
chat to you about that off air because there's a story
Okay.
behind that. I did something on Sunday that was like, oh my God, this is exactly what it brought up. But it wasn't just that, it was the whole week leading
Yeah.
up to that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this all played out for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is beautiful, Nathan, right?
Mm.
Because this is exactly what I'm talking about. Everyone's coming to heal us and everyone's coming to be healed. So
Ooh.
so it just depends on your level of awareness and consciousness, and that's okay. She's not going to get it just yet, and that's okay. But you've had the chance to reflect. You've gotten some insights, and you can see what's going on, right? And so this is available to everyone. When we understand what's happening, when we understand what the mirrors are, when we understand what to do with that feedback, we can actually start to heal ourselves. We can
Mm.
actually start to change the way we feel about ourselves and the way we look at others. And you'll know when you're complete with that thing, because you won't look at the other person as if they're less than you. You won't look at the other person as if they've done something wrong. You won't look at the other person in any other way other than just, oh my God, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
thank you. And that's when you know you're healed. That's when you know it's
Do we
done.
ever truly heal, or do we just keep just plugging up parts of ourselves?
You asked me this on our last conversation.
I did.
Yeah. So it depends on what you mean by truly heal and plugging
Like
up.
some people out there in the space will say, "Well, I'm healed now, so I'm sweet."
Well, they would have healed an attribute of themselves
Yeah.
potentially, but this is a journey. It's a quest.
Mm.
It's a lifelong
Yep.
reflection dynamic, surrender. Like, there's so many bits to it. We're onions peeling off layers, one layer at a time. And it's not about plugging that thing up. It's about completely collapsing that trigger and healing that part of you, truly healing it. If you imagine that you're a puzzle, right? You're a puzzle and you've got your outline sorted, but all the bits in the middle aren't put in yet. That's basically what we're doing with this work, is we're putting the parts of the puzzle back. And at some point, yes, you'll be healed, you won't incarnate again. However, until that time comes, you're going to keep putting parts of you back, and you're going to feel, different and better and more whole and complete each time
Mm.
you do that, because you're putting the bits of your puzzle back together. Um, but to sit there and say, um, I'm here, like
I used to
it's
say
really,
that. That's why.
oh, it's bloody prolific in the new age community. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to go see this Reiki person and they're going to get rid of all of my limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
No,
It's like
you're
you're
not.
going to get rid of them. That person's just going to help you, give you the energy to be able to do that if you choose to.
You'll feel better for a while, but that's
Yeah.
not going to get rid of all of your limiting beliefs and
Nah.
and
Because
have
we really, people, I did this too. You really put that person up on a pedestal as if they're going to help me, they're going to fix me, they're going to heal me. And you
mm,
still actually, this is my biggest lesson. I was giving my power away to that person
mm,
to heal me and fix me when I had all the power and stuff to do it myself.
yep.
But a good one will actually, like what you did for me before, which I need to have a little bit of a ponder on, is you'll pick up bits and be like, just go there, like go
Yes.
there. Like the good healers will say, go to that place.
Yep.
Like for you with me, and I know exactly where you're taking me. I just can't not
Yep.
yet go there live on air.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
But what you said is really, really key. Um, the good ones will point to the place to go to, and they'll help
Yep.
you get there, and they'll help you go through that.
Mm.
And if anyone ever comes to me and I say to them, okay, I'm going to heal all of your limiting beliefs and all of your traumas
That's a
in
big
one
promise.
session, then you know that I'm lying, because it's and that's for anyone out there. It's
Mm.
bullshit. It's
Mm.
absolute bullshit. And what will happen is it sets you up to be disappointed. Right.
Oh
I'm not
yes.
saying you can't create miracles. Bloody hell, we create them every day. We heal every day. But if you have these unrealistic expectations that you're going to, hold your limiting beliefs in your hand and drop them in a ceremony and they're done,
Yeah.
you're going to be disappointed. You're going
Mm.
to be disappointed. So I just love real, raw, practical. I've been through all of the fluff. I
Yep.
only want to talk about what works. I don't care in, so much of it keeps people stuck and
I
keeps
agree.
people in the hopeism and the,
I agree.
one day, divine timing. Even the divine timing thing, it's like it keeps people stuck. It keeps people stuck.
Because the time
If
is now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Boom.
Mm.
Um, but that's it, right? The time is now. And if you don't have that thing now, it's because your frequency does not match that thing that you desire. So there's something in you that's blocking you from having it. Just get to the bloody bottom of it. Just get to the bottom of it, heal that part of you, move on.
You're really
Done.
talking to me right now, aren't you? Jill, thank you so much for everything you shared today. Is there anything else you'd like to share with my audience? Actually, there's a question that's just come to me now. If there's someone out there that's listened and watched this, you've picked apart some things with me, which is great. Gives
Yep.
people an insight of the work you do, which is
Yep.
happy to be the dummy for it. Well, the test case. What would be your advice to that person that can start their journey towards whatever it is, that thing or that frequency, or yeah, just a piece of advice that can help someone get started?
Yeah. I mean, you're more than welcome to join my community. I run weekly classes.
Ah,
They're fantastic. We've got a beautiful community. Um,
how
I
can someone
teach.
join that community?
Just find me on Facebook, find me on
Yep.
Instagram. I think you'll put the links up to
Yep.
how people can contact me. And I can send them either info for the next intake or put them on the wait list.
Yep.
Um, I teach this content every week. We go through practical exercises to transform.
Awesome.
Um, and I also have limited spots for one-on-one coaching.
Yep.
Um, However, if you're wanting to start at home, you've got to start becoming aware. You've got to start becoming self-aware. And our, like I said before, everyone's coming to heal us and everyone's coming to be healed. That is the greatest gift that we have. When the universe was created, it wanted to experience itself. So it created it created a mirror. And that's what's happening right here with you and me. We're mirroring each other. You're seeing things in me that you like, that you don't like. That's the reflection, right? And this is what happens in life. But the moment you see something that you don't like, you label that person toxic, you remove them from your life, and you miss the freaking lesson. So if we can start to see everyone as the universe or God or whatever it is that you call it, and just take a moment to say, what is this reflecting in me? That will be a start. That will be a huge start in changing the way you show up in the world.
I love that.
Mm. You
It's
spot
just,
it, you got it.
yeah, 100%. And I said that on Walk and Talk yesterday. If you're seeing something in someone else casting judgment in a negative way, then more often than not, you're seeing that in them because it's with you. Literally
And
covered that yesterday.
it's not just negatives, Nathan.
Can be
That's
positives, yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's the thing. Like, this is why
yeah.
celebrities and sports stars get paid so much, because we give them our gold, our brilliance to hold, because we don't feel worthy to hold it ourselves. So
Oh,
that's an yeah. Oh.
there's a topic for soon.
So this is a big part of what I teach. We love the stuff that we don't love. We take back the stuff that we've given to people that we do love, and you become whole. It's the light and the dark. It's the yin and the yang. We're whole. We're complete. It's more pieces of our puzzle in both sides. That's why
Well,
it's profound. That's why it works.
we will stay in touch. We will do another one soon. I feel like we're going to be doing this for a little bit. So many juicy. What we
Oh,
should do, I know we're still live, but what we should do is we should collaborate anyway. Have a normal chat and just throw it on our platforms. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I
cross
know that
collaboration, whatever they call it.
yeah, we've got a lot of sort of similar
Yeah,
things that we're interested
and we're
in.
both Australian. Nothing better.
What can I say? Hey, who doesn't
Yeah,
love an Aussie?
Jill, thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak on your platform in a
Yeah.
group of so many people. So glad that we were able to connect this way. I feel like that was divine timing.
Yeah. Beautiful. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was. Jill, where can people find you? You said it before. We'll finish on that. Where can they find you? Website, podcast, whatever,
Yep. Yep.
socials.
Yep. JillOgle.com. All of the links are on there. All of my socials are on there. You can find me Instagram, TikTok now,
Hey,
all over the place.
TikTok.
Just started. Just
Look out.
started. But yeah, JillOgle.com is the best place to go. There's a free meditation there for anyone that
Oh,
wants to head over. Um, and yeah, I'd really welcome them into my Facebook group as well, my community, where I go live every week. I put in videos with all of these little wisdom drops just to kind of get people open and thinking and having some practical tools that they can use in their
love it.
life. Yeah.
That's awesome, Jill. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
We're gonna circle back to each other very soon and do another one of these and just
That's good.
have a good topic one and just go for it. So, Jill, thank you. This has been the Breaking Free podcast. Thank you all from Jill's community that have tuned in, and thank you everyone else that has tuned in. I'll talk to you guys again soon. There's some awesome things coming. A couple of solo episodes are back, so it's time for me to start speaking and doing some solo ones too. So stay tuned for those. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. I'll see you all soon. Cheers. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.